And thank you, Raj, for having me here this evening. So today what I'd like to do is share with you over 50 years of networking and referral marketing experiences, most of which I learned before I was old enough to drive. Along with this powerful marketing information, what I'd also like to do this evening is teach you Italian. Would that be a good use of your time? Yep. So I don't see a lot of Italians out there. Are there any Italians? Okay, so you are. Okay, I can tell. And can anybody speak Italian? You can. Okay, you're going to embarrass me then because I'm going to be teaching people Italian. You may need to lower that just a bit. So one of the things I'd like to talk about is my experiences growing up. I had a unique childhood. I think it was a pretty interesting childhood that really helped form some mindsets and values around networking. Values and mindset that I feel that serves me today in terms of building my business and helping other people with networking. I was brought up in a very sheltered environment. I was brought up in a little town in a little state of Rhode Island. Both my parents are Italian. And in this sheltered environment I had, there's a lot of things that I thought were normal that most of you would not think is normal. For example, in our small working class, lower middle class household, I thought it was normal that I would be sharing my bedroom with my brothers. As a matter of fact, I would share my bed with my brothers, right? Okay, and so when I got hand-me-downs, you know what that meant? I thought that this is the way pants fit until I was about 16. Right? But sharing was very important. Not only was sharing very important, but my parents felt it was imperative that we were brought up and created an understanding of work ethic. Okay? At a very young age, we were told that we would be involved in all of the household projects. Okay? At the ripe old age of 5 years old, I already knew how to clean a house, make my bed, wash the floor. I knew all household duties, and I knew how to work outside. Okay? Does anybody recall what one of these is? Okay, it might be a generational thing. Okay, but yeah, my brother and I, at the ripe old age, in 70 pounds of twisted steel coated with sugar, would have to push this through my parents' yard. 7 acres. Okay, all right, maybe it was less than 100 feet by 30 feet, but it felt like 7 acres because it would take my brother and I all day just to do the front yard. Okay, and the only way we could do it was to work together, where I would take a handle and he would take a handle and we would push this lawnmower. But again, it taught me a work ethic, and it taught me the importance of teamwork, okay? Some values and some mindsets that really help shape the way I look at networking. I mentioned it was a kind of a sheltered life, right? So this is the neighborhood. My friends are Gina and Louis Finelli, Billy and Joey Lancelotti, Frank Rocchio, Michael Rainone. The entire neighborhood is Italian and half Italians. Okay, did I mention I grew up in America? Okay. An entire Italian. At that point in my life, I honestly believe, this is no joke, I honestly believe that this diverse network that I was part of, that the world was Italian and half Italian. And of course, my adult friends were always looking at me and saying, well, what do you think the other half came from? Like, other half Italians. How many else? 5. Right? And this belief did not change when I went to school. Okay, because where did my parents send me to school? This is no joke. The name of the school that I went to school at the kindergarten age is called St. Rocco's. Now, I'm putting the picture up there to let you know there is truly a St. Rocco's that I went to school with. Now, who do you think my classmates there were? Barbara Zampa, Janet Pizzullo, Michael Dacchioli, Joanne Cottoro. The entire school, this exclusive network that I was now part of, was all Italian and half Italian. Okay? I'm learning the value of a close-knit network, and I'm learning the value of diversity. Okay? All right, so how many people have heard of St. Rocco? You've heard of St. Rocco?
It's a church in Long Island.
It's a what?
It's a St. Rocco's Church and School on Long Island.
There's also a school in Long Island called St. Rocco, but how about the actual saint himself? You know, I figure, all the years that I went to school, I never really understood that there really was a St. Rocco's. Okay, now this is the truth. You're going to think I'm kidding with this, but no one has ever heard of St. Rocco, right? Okay, you're going to Google this when I'm done. St. Rocco is the patron saint of contagious diseases. You don't make that up. Truly, he is the patron saint of contagious diseases. Google it, you'll see it. As a matter of fact, it is an inspirational story. And just interestingly, St. Rocco was not Italian. He was actually from France. But a very, very inspirational story. So this is the institution that I'm being brought up in. And inside this prestigious organization called St. Rocco's, I had begun to learn some real powerful marketing principles. Okay? I was beginning to learn the principles of networking with my classmates in recess, on the bus, in class. And by doing that and forming these relationships, they began to educate me outside of the classroom the power of marketing. And not only the power of marketing, but what the basic components are to marketing that can change your business and change your life. It's true. And by the time I was in the 6th grade, one of the most critical parts of marketing that I understood was target market. By 6 years old, I understood the power of target market. And at 6 years old, my target market was Gina Damiani. Gina Damiani was the prettiest 12-year-old in the whole world. Gina Damiani, spaghetti legs, meatball eyes. She was the target market for Mike Macedonio. Okay? And see, what my classmates started to tell me is, Mike, we got it. This is your target market. We know where you're going. We know what you want. The next thing we need to do is we need to create a message. Okay? A message that can be delivered to Gina Damiani, okay, so that she would understand that she is the target market. And I'm like, these guys are great. He says, not only are we going to help you create the message, we'll help you deliver the message. Okay, now, can you have any better friends than the friends that I had at St. Rocco's that are going to help me create the message and deliver the message to Gina Damiani? Well, that's exactly what they did. Mike likes you. Do you like him? And I was saying, this is brilliant, and you guys are going to deliver it. Yes, it will also come back with the answer for you. Okay, can you see how now I'm being introduced to the referral system? Okay, someone else delivering your message to your target market to come back with an answer to you of whether you have an active prospect or not. This is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant in my 6th grade mind. All right? Well, Joanne Couture offers to do this for me. Okay, and she approaches Gina Damiani, she passes the note to her. Okay, shortly after that, I get the note passed back to me. But I am so nervous, I am so excited. I mean, this is going to change my life. This is Gina Damiani. Okay, this is what I've been waiting my whole life for, Gina Damiani, to come back, and I get it, okay, and it's in my pocket, and I'm sweating all over this thing, thinking, I'm not going to open this right now. I can't open it right now. I have to wait till recess. Okay, so that's exactly what I do. I wait till recess. I still have it. Okay, and I open it to see what Gina has written on here. My fate, my entire life rests into this one piece of paper. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh. Mike, who? What went wrong? Okay, I had the right target market. I had people deliver my message. I had a crafted message. What was missing is, okay, my message wasn't clear. Okay, I needed more clarity in my message. All right, so what I recognized I needed to do next is I needed to clarify Mike who. Okay, so at this point, what I did is I gave them the Mike Mass. Okay, and you see in this school here, they did not need extra vowels. Okay, so they just chose to call me Mike Mass. But there's another lesson I came from this, and that is your message can get delivered more than once. And as a matter of fact, not only could it be delivered more than once, it can be delivered by someone else. Okay, but in this case, Joanne had done such a good job, I asked her to deliver it again with a more clarified message, okay, saying Mike Mass. This goes back to Gina Damiani, and it comes back again, and how do you think it comes out this time? I'll think it over. Okay, I get it, and I think it over. So again, I have to evaluate what went wrong in my marketing message. Okay, did I have a good delivery system? Yes. Did I have a clear message? Yes. Did she know which mic it was? Yes. Okay, what was missing is a testimonial. Okay, what was missing in it was a testimonial. Now, if Gina Pizzullo or Lori Mischetti or any of those had gone to the love of my life, Gina Damiani, and let her know that, Mike's a really nice guy. I know he looks a little goofy and he's got a turtleneck, but this guy is a really nice guy. As a matter of fact, last time we went out, he bought spumoni for everybody after the movies. Okay, would I've had a better chance then, I'll think it over. Are you with me on this? Okay, so here's something that, on a serious note with testimonials. People are recommending you, and without a testimonial, they may be faced with objections. They may be faced with objections of why they should be talking with you. When you have well-crafted testimonials, your testimonial becomes the vaccination to the sales objection. Okay, did you get that? Okay, a well-crafted testimonial is the vaccination to the sales objection. And if the people referring you don't have those testimonials, preferably given before the objection, when do you get a vaccine? Before you need it, okay? It'd make them more likely to want to talk with you. This making sense? Okay. Can you see why St. Rocco's was so important to me? I mean, this was high-level education and certainly the foundation of what I learned in marketing. So let's just do a little recap. Mindset. What are the core values that you have that are supporting your networking mindset? Okay. Mine was gratitude, sharing, and work ethic. I believe those are key for me in the style of networking that I do. The second is in having a diversified network. How closely, how carefully have you chosen the networks that you're going to participate in? Are they the type of networks that's going to put you in front of your targeted prospects? Or are they the type of networks that are going to support you with the contacts that know the people that you want to be connected to? Okay? Your target market. Do you have a Gina Damiani? So I'm going to show you one of the pitfalls I find with most business owners with target market. The first one is they don't have one. They're basically targeting anybody that has any money. Secondly, when they do find that they have a target market, it's based on opportunity alone. Based on opportunity alone, they're basically basing on, this is somebody that needs what I have. And when you truly understand your target market, it's because you have an emotional connection to them. You have an emotional connection to serving that market. Okay? That's what sets your marketing plan on fire, that emotional connection. Would you agree there was an emotional connection with Gina Damiani? Everyone wants to know how did things turn out, but okay. Having a clear message, okay, and of course, finally, having a testimonial that vaccinates that sales objection. So, did anybody want to learn Italian? So you said you know Italian. A little bit? Okay, so you can't play. All right. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to think of questions you might have for me. Okay? And just give me any questions you like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to respond to them in Italian, and then I'm going to teach you how to speak Italian. Fair enough? All right. So give me any question you like. In English, please. Yes.
Does the dinosaur become your wife?
What's that?
Does the dinosaur become your wife later?
Did she become my wife? No, we had a tremendously intense relationship for about 3 weeks. And I'm not giving that in Italian because that's the truth. You know, typical 6th grade relationship for 3 weeks. And guess what I did the next year? The exact same plan with the exact same results. All right, I'll tell you that. I have time later, I'll tell you what happened 40 years later. Okay, because I actually ran into Gina Damiani 40 years later. Okay, so if we have time afterwards. All right, other questions I can answer in Italian. Yes?
What's your name?
What's my name? Okay, I'm going to give you that in Italian. Next question.
How old are you?
How old am I? I'm going to give you that in Italian. Next question. You can ask me anything. It doesn't matter. I'm going to answer it in Italian.
What's your native place in Italy? What is your native place?
What's my native place in Italy? Okay, excellent question. Yes, sir.
What's wrong with the pizza here in the West Coast?
Pizza in the West Coast? Okay, I can answer that in Italian. Anyone from the back have a question? Yes, sir. Sure. When did all of this start to come together that it was relating to the way I'm marketing today? Okay, great. All right, you ready? I'd like to respond. I can actually respond in Italian to all of those questions. Okay? As a matter of fact, even if it's not a question, if you just want to tell me something, anybody want to just tell me something like you have a funny accent or what would you like to just tell me? And I'll respond to that in Italian.
Do you work out on a daily basis?
I work out on a daily basis. Okay? What else do you want to tell me? The top Italian swear words. Okay. All right, Dre, I'm going to give it all in Italian. Ready? Forget about it. No, really. It is the universal Italian word. No matter what you get asked, no matter what people are looking for, no matter what people tell you, okay, if you learn how to say this one Italian word, you can have any conversation with anyone around the world in Italian. Now, it's absolutely true. To everything you've just asked me and everything you said, okay, a straightforward, forget about it. Okay, it will be all the Italian you will ever need. Okay, now, it sounds easier than it actually is. It really is. So what I need you to do is actually try it. Okay, so on 3, I want you to respond to me in Italian. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. That was horrible. I want to do it one more time now, right? Now, okay, you gotta use a little bit of Italian in there, okay? First of all, hands count. You understand that in Italian? Hands count. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Forget about it. Oh, that was much better. Now I want to show you the advanced Italian. You see, there's forget about it, meaning don't even think about it. There's forget about it. Like, I don't want anything to do with this, and then there's forget about it. Okay, so you have to learn the different dialects of forget about it. For example, if I just don't want you to remember something, I can just say forget about it. Okay? Okay, watch real carefully now. And then there's that stuff that you really, really look at and you say, no. Okay, I don't want to do business like that. I don't want that type of business. I don't want to work with people like this. Watch the dialogue, right? Forget about it. Do you get it? Okay, then there's the other side. That stuff you really want. The Gina Damiani. Okay, now right now what I'm thinking about is my wife right now. Ready? Right? And that's a forget about it. All right, you want to try one of those? Okay, I want you to think of that business that you absolutely, truly, truly are passionate about getting. That dream referral, that dream prospect. Ready? With hands. Ready? Forget about it. All right? You got it down, right? All right, I bet you never thought you'd come to a seminar and learn Italian. Okay? This helps with marketing, I'm telling you. Okay? That's the only word I know in Italian, other than those bad words you asked about. But it gets me by. Okay? So what I was thinking with this whole great system that I got about the 6th grade referral marketing system is, how can I use this for business owners? And so what I generated is the 6th grade referral marketing system. And as a matter of fact, I brought one of these here for everyone here today, so please don't leave without it. And very simply, it says, to whoever your Gina Damiani is, whoever that prospect is, whoever that company is you'd like to have that door open to, okay, Mike, in this case, put your own name in there, would like to do business with you. Would you like to do business with them? Yes or no? Okay, the 6th grade referral marketing system. Who would like to have one of these marketing systems? Okay? Who would be embarrassed to use something like this? Thank you, it's a joke. Okay? I have them for everybody, but yes, it's a joke. I hope you're going to have a little bit more sophisticated referral marketing system than this. So what I'd like to do is take some excerpts from the book, Truth of Delusion. So this was very interesting. This was the first book that I co-authored called Truth of Delusion. To just kind of give you a little background, it was so unlikely that I would be an author that it was never my intention to write a book. I actually had a business partner at the time who really brought nothing to the table except for this one thing, one thing he mentioned to me when I was doing presentations and talk about Truth of Delusions. He told me, he says, that would make a good book. And I said, I ain't writing no book. He goes, no, that would make a good book. I said, I ain't writing no book. And when the book got published, it started hitting some bestsellers. And my very best friend, Paul Dion, went to St. Rocco's. He was half Italian. Okay, Paul Dion came up to me and says, you wrote a book? I go, yeah, I did a book, and it's doing pretty well. He goes, you wrote a book? I go, yeah. He goes, I didn't know you could read. So the book gets published. The book gets published on my son's birthday, October 17th. On October 18th, it hits #1 on Amazon. All right? There's no gossip. There's no sex. It's a business book on marketing. Okay? And it hits #1 on Amazon. And I'm on the phone with my co-author, Ivan Misner, and I'm letting him know that, he's telling me it's a bestseller, but as I'm looking at the screen, it's going up, 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 up. It hits #1. I'll say, you'll never guess who #2 is. He goes, who? Donald Trump. Donald Trump got bumped to #2, and Truth of Delusion went up to #1. As a matter of fact, it did the exact same thing the next week, and then went on to the Wall Street Journal, the USA Today, and New York Times for 2 months in a row. But the book has 49 things that people think are going to build their business that really don't work that well. And other things they don't think of that actually can have a big impact on the amount of business you can generate through networking. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you an example of what one of these would look like. Okay? Truth of Delusion, you can network anywhere, anytime, even at a funeral. I know that sounds offensive. Okay, how many think that's true? How many think that's a delusion? You can't network at a funeral. Okay, you're right, it's true. It's absolutely true. Now, before you think I'm just a rotten person that goes out there marketing everywhere, I want you to understand what it really means to network. If you go into networking in your mindset, networking is a way to help others as a way of growing your business. Would there be opportunities at a funeral to help others? Okay? People that may need rides, people that need some consoling. Okay, there's all kinds of needs that people are going to have that will give you an opportunity to help them. Okay, so that's caveat #1. Okay, that you take the approach of networking is about helping others as a way of growing your business. The second level to that is, okay, no matter where you're networking, honor the event. Okay, honor the event. Okay, so if I'm at a funeral, I'm not going to stand by the casket passing out my business cards. Okay, I'm not going to have, we're going to forego the eulogy right now. What I'd like everybody to do is meet somebody new right now. Okay, I certainly wouldn't be honoring the event. Right? So here's one of the definitions we use in the world's best no marketing secret. It's the process of developing and activating relationships to increase your business, enhance your knowledge, expand your sphere of influence, or serve the community. So let me explain what I typically see people doing when they're networking. Face-to-face cold calling. They go to networking events, and basically what they're doing is they're going in there to find out who needs what I have. Who is going to buy from me? Okay, have you got life insurance? Do you have enough life insurance? Are you sure you have enough life insurance? Okay, have you been to those type of networking events? That everybody's pushing a card on you because they have something that you're going to buy. Okay? So how many people go to networking events hoping they're going to sell something? Some do, some don't. How many go to networking events because you go there to buy something? Okay? That's virtually never. Okay, that people don't go to networking events because they're looking to buy something. Right? So one of the things that I suggest when you're networking is, first of all, honor the event. Okay, what's the purpose of why the people are meeting? And secondly is how can I help them? What is it that they need, okay, and not me? What is it that they need that I can connect them to someone to help serve them? Okay. One of the activities in developing effective networking is relationship building. And one of the ways we look at that is in terms of VCP. And that's moving your relationship from visibility to credibility to profitability. Now that VCP is a stage of development, and we're talking about referral relationship. Okay, not a transactional relationship, a referral relationship where people that you're networking will help and make connections for you. Okay, it's very important that we understand the difference between the transactional process of people buying from you, okay, and the networking as an opportunity to connect to people that they know. Are we clear about that? All right. So in the visibility stage of networking, a person remembers you. Okay? You've interacted with in a way that you become memorable. Right? And the way I measure your invisibility is if they can remember your first name, your last name, and what you do, you're visible. Okay? If you're networking in a way that when you leave the next day, you're walking down the street and they say, hey, there's what's his name? That Mike Gina Damiani guy. Would I be in visibility? No. Okay? The chances are tomorrow, if you couldn't remember my first name, my last name, and what I do, we're no longer we've never entered even visibility stage in terms of our network and what we can do for one another. Right? That next phase would then be credibility. And at this stage, you're perceived to have trust. One of the key parts of the credibility stage is what I call doing what you say. Okay? If I said I'm going to call you, if I said I'm going to contact you, if I say I'm going to do anything from the interaction we have, okay, I need to do it. Okay, so that I'm believable. Okay, that's the credibility phase. One of the things I find with a lot of clients that I work with, it's very easy to get pulled into false credibility. We believe that, well, they know I'm good at what I do. Maybe you are, okay? But for everybody, what they consider credible may have nothing to do with how good you are. Okay? There are all kinds of things that are affecting your credibility that you may not even consider. People will look at me and say, you're too short, I can't trust you. You're Italian, you got bald hair, you remind me of my brother-in-law. All types of things can undermine, you too? All types of things can undermine your credibility, and many times I find people that put themselves in a false sense of credibility. And that's important when you're trying to cultivate referrals. Because if you're in a false sense of credibility, you may be asking for something that you shouldn't be asking for yet in the relationship. Okay, I call that going in for the kiss too soon. Okay, you think it's a good time to go in for the kiss, and you just blew any opportunity for any long-term relationship. Right? And of course, in referrals, the ultimate relationship stage is going to be profitability. And in this stage, you're both, the two people in the relationship, they're both proactively and consistently referring business back and forth. Okay? This is where the ball starts rolling, and it starts rolling really fast. Okay? Where you're consistently, proactively, as business owners, referring each other business back and forth. There's actually a stage I didn't talk about. So I talked about visibility, I talked about credibility, and I talked about profitability. There's actually a phase before visibility that's worth talking about, because actually that's where most people network. They network in what's called a pre-visibility stage. That's the politically correct way to say it, by the way. There's no more used cars, previously owned. Okay, so it's the politically correct way to talk about it is pre-visibility. The truth is, you're in invisibility. Okay, they can't remember who you are, what you do. You're in invisibility. Okay, and so how do people network in invisibility? Okay, they go around, how you doing? Nice to meet you. I'm Mike. Let me give you a business card. Let me take yours. How are you doing? Hey, I love your food, by the way. May I have a card? Well, thank you. And by the way, how's that life insurance going? Okay? Schmooze and booze, schmooze and booze, schmooze and booze. They never go more than an inch deep. A mile wide, but an inch deep, and that's where they stay. And they're constantly working around invisibility. Invisibility to visibility, invisibility to visibility, and they'll network anywhere, anytime with anybody. Okay? There's also another way of the IVCP. The I not only can be invisibility, okay, it can be irritability. Okay, and that's when you're out there networking and you're just irritating people by collecting their cards and then spam them for the next 5 years. Okay, because word of mouth is always working, it just may not be working in your favor. So what if you can generate all the referrals from the contacts, your current contacts in your database? What would that be like in your business? If you looked at all of your contacts, you were able to generate referrals from them. You know what that would be like? Disneyland. It'll never happen. No, really, it's never going to happen. Okay? And based on what I just told you about invisibility, visibility, credibility, and profitability, why will that never happen? It's hearability? Because the likelihood of moving to relationships of credibility and profitability take time. And it's not going to happen with hundreds of people in your database. However, it's very likely and very manageable that you can do that with a handful or a dozen people. But it will take some time. Okay? What most people start thinking of is, oh, I got a golden database. These people are going to bring me tons of business. Okay? How many people have experienced that so far in their business? You have. Okay, you're lucky because I haven't. And I've been doing this for a long time. Right? So I want to show you something. This study was taken by the Freelance Consultants Conference. Freelance Consultants. So this was 1,200 freelance consultants from all industries, from technology to law, writers, graphic designers, all the freelance consultants. And what they asked them is, how do you market and how do you get business? Okay, and I think for how many people here are freelance consultants? Okay, I think you're going to find some of this stuff interesting. What they found is the number one place that people are getting business were referrals. Number 2 is word of mouth. Number 3 was tapping into their personal and professional networks. Okay, the 4th one was online job boards, and the 5th one was local networking. Anybody find that fascinating? Nobody's finding that fascinating. Well, let me tell you some fascinating things about this. The year before this study came out, they did a similar study, and number 1 was not referrals. It was word of mouth, with referrals being number 2. Word of mouth is now number 2, yet it increased in effectiveness. It went from 23 to 23.8, but referrals went up to 27.4, as you can see from this chart. Okay, here's the fascinating part about this. The previous year, when they tracked all the places referrals were coming from, it looked like that, similar, okay, just slightly different in terms of referrals being number 2. And they asked the people, it says, okay, based on how you're getting business today, what are you going to change next year? What are you going to invest more time and resources in to generate more business? Okay, so this is where they're currently getting their business. What do you think these 1,200 business owners said they were going to invest in to get more business? What was that? Facebook ads. I tell you, it wasn't Facebook ads. However, the number one answer was, by 46%, we're going to invest more time and resources in social media to generate more business. Okay, now, obviously, they didn't have the data in front of them when they were choosing to invest. Would you agree? Okay, so the number one response, and 46% of these people invested more time in research in their social media advertising. Okay, and then the following year, what happened? The social media response stayed exactly the same. It stayed, listen, exactly the same. Where most of the business owners were investing more time and more resource into it, and it stayed exactly the same. Yet, referrals went up, word of mouth went up, tapping your professional networks went up, online job boards went slightly down. Okay, so this year they asked them the same question. Okay, based on how business is coming to you, what will you invest more time and resources? And what do you think the number one answer was? Now, tapping into my personal and professional network was the number one answer. However, social media was number two at 42.8%, which of course the year before was 46%. So still, business owners are willing to invest more time and resources into social media, which represents 2.8% of the business they're getting. Why are they doing this?
Buzzword.
What's that?
Buzzword.
It's a buzzword. It's exciting. It's sexy. Okay, it's new. It's someplace to be. By the way, ask me if I think we should be promoting our business on social media. Absolutely. Okay, yes, 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 yes. Okay, I'm not saying either or, I'm saying yes, both. Okay, and at the same time, you want to invest proportionately. Okay, if I know that the majority of my business is coming to high-touch activities, what am I going to invest more time in? High-touch activities. Okay? If you'd like to find out more about this study, I want to give you a little location to go to because this, I'm showing you a snapshot of a much bigger report. Right? If you go to my blog site, it's called Referrals For Life. F-O-R, Referrals For Life is the blog site. And just either search under my name, Mike Macedonio, or the survey says. Okay, because here's some very interesting things that were pulled out of this survey. They not only took the general people in business, but they also broke them down to, well, what are the people that are just starting out doing? What are the people that have been around for 5 years doing? What are the people that have been around for 10 years doing? What are the people who charge on the lower end of their industry doing? What are the people on the higher end charging for their industry do? What do women do? What do men do? Who do you think charges more, men or women? All industries, whether it's graphic design, computer, legal, writing, editing, publishing, who do you think charges more? It depends. For the most part, women charge more, okay, from the lowest end to the middle end until you start getting to the higher end. Once the rates start exceeding $125, $150 an hour, then men at that point creep ahead. But up until that point, women are charging more. Probably something most of us wouldn't intuitively think, considering the way women have always had a more difficult time in the business world. Would you agree? Right, so here's something that's very interesting. The people just starting out proportionately spend more time investing in the high-tech type of marketing. The more established people, the people that have been around for 5 and 10 years, proportionally spend more time, more of their marketing time in high touch. Okay? And now it wouldn't be any surprise that the people that have been around longer, the people that are 10-year veterans, are also doing much more business. Okay? They've been around longer. But they have chosen and they've learned over the years that it's the high touch, getting in proximity with people that are generating the most amount of business for them. Okay? There's one other little thing that's really interesting. When you look at the higher end earners, the people that charge more, their rates are higher, their billable dollars are higher, okay? It's a direct correlation to how much time they put in marketing. Okay? The ones that put less time into their business development charge a lower rate. Does anybody feel that their rates are too low right now? That you should be charging a higher rate? Here's the formula. Invest more time in your marketing. Okay? People charging the higher rate, okay, all proportionally spend more time in their business development. Anybody want to guess why that would happen? They have more stuff in their pipeline. They're not desperate. They're not taking every job just because it's a job. They're not taking jobs just to stay busy, even if they're losing money on it. Okay? With more prospects and more opportunity in the pipeline, they can be selective and say, I want to work with this type of person. You certainly can, because this is the question and answer time.
How can you land clients using online job boards? You have like online job boards there, so I was wondering how can you find and land clients using online job boards?
Okay, so there are websites out there that, depending on your industry, they're posting work that needs to be done. Okay, so that's what's out there. Now, it's particularly in the technology field, where it seems like there's a lot of technology people, has always been an effective way for freelancers to supplement the amount of business they get. Okay, finding work out there. It's also drastically declining. Does anybody want to guess why? Because there's a boatload of people, again, especially in the technology scene, there's a boatload of people willing to do it for a whole lot less than you could afford to. Does that make sense? There are areas where people are able to do this work because of their cost of living, okay? And we're in California, guys. You know, we're living in paradise, but it's an expensive place to live. Okay? So the online job posting, unfortunately, is going down significantly, but they do still exist. Okay? And sometimes these communities can be somewhat private, which still makes it a very viable place to get more business. Okay? Yes, question, sir.
It's about survey. You asked how much others want to invest for the next year, on which areas. Do you know whether they really invested their time and energy, or did they say, like my New Year resolution that I will invest time and energy in going to gym, versus did they really do it?
Okay, so you have a very good question. So this is where they say they're going to invest more energy and more resources, but what do they actually do? Okay, that's a great question. It's not part of the survey. But yeah, because what's interesting, even with all of these categories, okay, if I was to interview all 1,200 people, I may find that their answers aren't accurate. Okay, and here's a perfect example. How many people right now know that they build their business primarily by word of mouth? Okay, you know you're primarily building your business by word of mouth. So if I was working with you as a client, what I would ask you is, okay, who are they? Because if you're truly building your business by word of mouth, that mouth would have a name. Okay, and if you can't name the name, how do you know it's being developed by word of mouth? Are you following me on that? But a lot of people just assume that the business is coming to them through word of mouth, but without being able to identify where it's coming from and who it's coming from, you really don't know. And more importantly, you don't know where to go back to perpetuate that situation. If I knew my word of mouth was coming from you, I'm going to fan those flames. I'm going to see what we can do to get a few more. Make sense? Yes, sir.
So, I have kind of two questions. One is, in the freelance world, my hesitation asking for referrals is, if I'm doing something for a client and he's kind of keeping me busy, if I ask them for referrals, they might think that, does that mean he has too much time, or is that going to affect my time that I give to him?
Yeah. So if you didn't hear that question, he's saying the problem he has asking clients for referrals, he doesn't know how it's going to impact the relationship. Well, they start thinking that, you know, he doesn't have enough business, he's got too much time. Could it negatively impact the relationship? Okay, so that's the answer. There's a couple of things with that. First of all, it's one of the truth of delusions. The truth of delusion is that clients are your best source of referrals. Okay, if you've read that and you've been told that, okay, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not true. Your clients are not your best source of referrals. Okay, the reason why people talk about that, the reason why so many experts tell you that your customers are the best source of referrals, okay, it's because most people in business approach referrals completely passively. They're passive about referral generation. They go into the premise that if I do a great job, if I've got a great product, if I deliver a great service, okay, people are going to recommend other people. It's just not true. As a matter of fact, there are going to be times when clients won't refer you, because if they do refer you and you become more successful, you become more significant, they become less significant. Okay, it gets complicated, by the way, because it's not even a conscious conversation. It's a completely unconscious conversation going on in their head, thinking, the more successful you get, I get less of you. And right now, I'm important in your world. Okay, that becomes an undermining effect. Now, I want to tell you something. Customers are a great source of referrals. I didn't say they weren't. They're a very good source of referrals. But here's the other side of it. Okay, when we put together referral marketing plans, we look at 8 different sources of referrals. There are 8 different sources of referrals. Clients is just one. And most business owners, because they're passive, they don't even know who the 8 sources are to say this one's better than that. Okay, I'll give you a real example. I'm working with a financial advisor. This is about 10 years ago. Paul, he lives in Cape Cod. He has hundreds of clients as a financial advisor. He's extremely proactive about asking his customers for referrals. Okay, when he's servicing them, he lets them know, I primarily build my business by referral and by trusted people like yourself. And he came up to me at one of the sessions and he told me, he says, Mike, I have to tell you something. I've been tracking like you tell me to do. I know exactly where my business comes from. Word of mouth comes out of a mouth and I can name them. I have all of this down. And I can tell you today that I have a single person, a single referral source that is now generating more referrals than all the referrals from all my customers combined. I'm like, whoa, back up, Paul. You're telling me of all the customers that are referring you right now, there is a single person generating more referrals than all of them combined? He says, yes. And you've helped me develop that relationship. Okay. And that person is what we call a contact sphere professional. Another profession that's complementary and non-competing to his. He's a financial advisor. The relationship he had formed is with an estate planning attorney. That estate planning attorney was feeding him referrals on literally a weekly basis of qualified prospects that he was going to do financial plans for. And that was generating more business and more referrals than all his client referrals combined. Okay? I want to tell you that I do believe asking clients for referrals has to be delicate for all those reasons. Okay? It can be a withdrawal to the relationship. However, done properly, I also think it could be a deposit. If you let them know how much you appreciate them and how much you would appreciate their recommendation and how it's important to your abilities. So it kind of leads to another issue. As a business owner, I mean, how many people consider themselves an entrepreneur and a business owner? Okay? Here's how you can qualify that. Here's how you can qualify if you're truly an entrepreneur and a business owner. When you say the words, I need your help, you almost get sick. Let's try it. As an entrepreneur, say it right now. I need your help. Yeah, that was as bad as forget about it. Entrepreneurs cannot ask for help. It is like it's in their blood. They have to learn it and relearn it and learn it and relearn it and learn it and relearn it to actually go out there and depend on other people. Because as a species, we're bred to be independent, self-sufficient. And then we make the mistake of going to school and getting a degree where we're taught to be independent and self-sufficient. And what we're not taught in business is how to utilize and how to work with other people and how to get off our high horse and actually ask people for help. Okay? So as an entrepreneur, I'm going to tell you, you may have a crippling disease. And that is the inability to ask for help. If you overcome it, you'd be amazed at sometimes the clients, these contact spheres, your family would be honored to help you. You know, I talked about having an effective message, and of course mine, I still have it. Okay? One of the key parts of that effective message is there was a call to action. Okay? And the call to action was simply yes or no. I'll think it over. All right. Well, I had a number of questions that you gave me, so I'm going to try to go through these. I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but I'll try to address as many as I can. If you're here, I may need some more clarification on the question if I don't understand it. I'm going to tell you in advance, I am partially hard of hearing. So sometimes when I'm listening to those questions, particularly in this room, I can't necessarily hear it, so I may need you to repeat it, say it louder, say it slower, but I want to really understand what you're looking for. All right? So here are some of the questions, and I'll take more if we have time. The first one was from, is Andrew Sharp here? All right. No, well, I'll give you his question anyways. What are the most time and cost-effective ways of networking? Okay, the most time and cost-effective ways of networking. Well, I want to start off by telling you that effective networking, and particularly if you're going to be growing your business by it, okay, there are times we network for information. There's times we network for support. But if you're looking to network for referrals and for business generation, you do have to make an investment. And there's an investment of time, and there's an investment of money. So let's talk about the big investment first. What do you think that is? Time. Okay? Effective networking takes time. Right? Now, along with this study here, which measured the time people invest, my company has also done surveys. Okay? And the average business owners that generate their business by referral, this is average, which I would tell you it's on the low side. The average business owner invests at least 6.5 hours a week. Okay? Do you want to know what the average clients I work with invest in their business development and networking? Anywhere from 10 to 25 hours. Okay? Now, that investment depends on their industry. For example, the high billable professions like attorneys, CPAs, okay, where billable is a big part of theirs, they will invest 20% of their time in business development. The other 80% is built on billable. People like, for example, real estate agents that do a significant amount of marketing and very little on the billable or deliverable, okay, they will be investing as much as 25 hours a week in their networking business development, okay? So it's a high time investment regardless of your profession. Here's the key to it, okay? Where do you invest to get the best return on your time? Okay, and selecting your networks and selecting who to spend your time with is a very important component. There's also a money investment. Okay? Many times people get the delusion that networking or building your business by referral is free. Oh no. Okay, it's never free. There's always investment. There's always places that you have to be that's going to cost you money to be there. Okay, and unfortunately, what I find a lot of times is when people are looking to make investments in networking, they get penny wise and pound foolish. It's like this is inexpensive when you consider what marketing costs. Okay, your networking could literally be costing you hundreds or maybe even a few $1,000s a year. Now, how many people are spending money on marketing right now? Okay, yeah, you could be writing checks of literally $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, which is not a lot of money in marketing. Okay, and virtually not make much noise at all in traditional marketing. Okay, hey, it's not because you're not doing the right thing. The problem is you have other people who are doing it in a more significant way, catching all the attention. Okay, how many sell consumable goods or something like that? Anybody do any products like that? You do, okay. Well, you know, when you're working with retailers like Walmart, anybody want to guess Walmart's marketing budget? A year. 150 million, yeah, close. 1 billion. Okay. With companies, there's a lot of large companies like that, with them putting that much noise on the market, it's hard for us to get noticed. Okay? And that's why so many small business owners, so many even medium-sized owners will invest more into their networking, their referral generation. Okay? So I think understanding what your time and your money budget is the first step in figuring out where you're going to invest it to get the best return. How about Mace? Mace here? Mace Cheng? You had a question here. What are your tips on keeping in touch? Okay. The best way to keep in touch is the one that you'll actually do. I'll start with that. Okay? It's actually just a matter of doing something. But my experience is the best way to keep in touch is to have physical proximity. Okay? So take, for example, this group right here. How often are you meeting, Raj?
Once a month.
Okay, you're meeting once a month. Okay? Come. Okay? And having the physical proximity to this network, okay, is the best way to stay in touch. Okay? It is going to be far more effective for you than high tech. Okay, do I use LinkedIn? Yes. Do I use Facebook? I do all of that. Okay, but what I really want to do is with my significant network is I want to make sure I get high touch, face-to-face proximity networking time. That make sense? Okay. What's the number one rule not to do in networking? Can there only be one? Number one thing not to do, I'm going to go back to networking at a funeral. The number one thing not to do is understanding that your best way to move a relationship is to serve, and the best thing not to do is dishonor the event. Okay, dishonoring the event. Okay, and I see that where people would come in, they know there's a formal network that's meeting, and they will hijack the agenda. And I've seen business owners do this, and I've seen politicians do this. Okay, you got a business networking group, and all of a sudden the mayor candidate comes in there and hijacks the meeting to start speaking his agenda. I think that's the biggest faux pas I can think of. All right? Okay, I'm coming from a startup nation, and I would like to be great to meet with you. Someone wants to meet with me. Aaron? Okay, we can meet. All right, here's a great question. How do you reach people inside a company where you want to work other than LinkedIn? So this is an employment question. All right, I want to preface this answer by, I do not consider myself an authority on employment. Okay, so that's first of all. But you can see just from my recent example that it's even worked in dating. And I believe the principle will also work in finding a job. It's a different prospect, all right? And it really comes down to finding people who know the people that you want to meet. LinkedIn is great because it's a technology tool that can show that to you based on looking at their profiles. You understand that? Okay. But many times we can just, in terms of meeting with people, ask them, do you know anyone in this company? Do you know anyone that knows anyone inside this company? Okay. My sons are now becoming young business people. And it's interesting, they're both involved in business, and guess what they're doing now? They're actually starting to learn how to network. One of the networks I'm involved in is called B&I. They run professional referral groups. Okay. Both of them joined B&I. And I'm on the phone with my son a couple of weeks ago, and he says, I just got involved in this company. He goes, and my job really isn't sales, but I'd really think I'd get the owner's attention in this print company if I was able to make a contact with Citizens Bank. Okay, great, Citizens Bank. Why Citizens? Well, their corporate headquarters is right next to us. I mean, they're literally right there, and we don't do any business with them. I said, okay. I said, so, Alan, who do you know in Citizens Bank? He goes, I don't know anyone in Citizens Bank. I just got out of college. I don't know. I go, wait a minute, hold on a second. Let's think about this for a second. I said, do you remember your Scoutmaster? Do you remember the guy that I climbed Mount Rainier with? Climbed Mount Washington with? He goes, yeah, Bob Warren. Been a programmer with Citizens for at least 12 years. Okay? Can you reach out to Bob Warren and see if he knows who's in charge of the print orders? Right? The same conversation you can be having with your family, you can be having with your friends, you can have it with anyone that you know that may have some connections in that company. Right? And it basically comes down to just looking for personal introductions. Right? Does that answer the question? All right. Let's see if we got some other good questions here. Okay. What are your suggestions for people that are antisocial regarding networking? Would anybody like to identify themselves? It's actually a very good question, and I actually have a complete chapter about that in Truth of Delusion. The Truth of Delusion, to be a great networking, you have to be outgoing and gregarious. Delusion. Right? And it's absolutely delusion. Now, when you say antisocial, okay, the fact that they're doing any networking at all tells me they're at least willing to go out there and meet people. Okay, we'll start with that. Okay, but the truth is, some of us are more introverted than extroverted. How many here consider themselves an introvert? If you were to evaluate me, do you think I'm an introvert or an extrovert? I am naturally an introvert. Okay, I'm absolutely an introvert. And here's how you determine a person's extroverted or introvertedness. Okay, when they need to recharge, when they've been depleted, where do they go? Okay, introverts like myself like to be alone. Okay, and being alone might be mountain biking on a trail by myself with my own thoughts. Okay, or maybe sitting in front of the TV zoning out, or maybe with a book, but I like to be alone. Extroverts need to be around other people to get charged up. Okay, that's true introvert extroverts. Now, I'm a situational extrovert. Okay, meaning when I came here, I had to mentally prepare myself that I have to talk to people. Okay? You don't have to be an introvert or an extrovert to be successful at networking. Okay? As a matter of fact, my experience has been that introverts, in many cases, are better networkers because they're better listeners. Okay? The networkers that are always talking, they're usually not very good networkers because they never shut up. And they never listen, they never really get to know other people. You know, one of the questions was, is how do I network and become more interesting? Like people, they'll remember me. Okay, well, I know one sure way is you can act like a goofball. Okay, the goofball always gets remembered. But if you really want to do an authentic way of being noticed and remembered, if you want to be interesting, be interested. And be interested in them. Okay, ask them questions about themselves. Ask them how they got involved in what they're doing. Okay, would you like to know? Okay, I'm going to give you the advanced stuff right now. Okay, my first question is usually around is like, you know, what do you do? What's your name? Where you're from? You know, I just want to break the ice and get to know you a little bit. Okay, well, that's an interesting career. How did you get involved in that? Start finding out a little bit more about them. Okay, you really want to light them up? Use this one. Write it down if you have to, because this one I'm telling you, this will change the way you're remembered at networking events. So tell me, other than what you currently do and for your profession, which you sound very passionate about, what do you love to do for fun? Right now, that may seem a little odd that you'd be asking a personal question like that, particularly at a business event. Okay. What do you think the response usually looks like? Not sounds like. What do you think it typically looks like? They get excited. Okay? I don't care if they're talking about their grandchildren, they're talking about their hobbies, whatever they're talking about. When you start talking about that, it says, wow, you play in a band. How long have you been doing that? They will light up. And you will absolutely be the most interesting person in the room if you sincerely listen to them and hear what they have to say about that passion. Okay? If you want to be more interesting, be more interested. Right? I do need to wrap it up shortly, so what I'd like to do is I gave questions that were asked here by some people that aren't here. Is there anything that you're dying to know right now that you think might help with your business? Yes?
Is referrals and leads, are they same?
Referrals and leads? The way most people define them, no. Okay, leads are typically just names of people that might need your product or service. A referral typically has someone's reputation attached to it. In other words, someone made a personal recommendation. Okay, that's how we typically determine between leads and referrals. Are both useful? Yes. But typically referrals come attached to somebody's reputation and somebody's relationship. Yes, sir?
You mentioned that there are 8 channels to referrals.
Mm-hmm.
There's your customers, the other one is people who are kind of working in that same area but not exactly overlapping.
Yep, that contact spheres. And the list goes down from there. You've got, obviously, your clients, people whose business benefits from yours. Okay, for example, in my business, the more trainings I do, the more printing I need to get done. Okay? So my printer likes it when I get really busy because I need to print off a lot of manuals. Okay? They would be an excellent source of referrals for me because their business is going to benefit from mine. Okay, that's one category. Your staff. Most companies don't work their staff at all in terms of referral generation, and they can be an excellent source of referrals. Okay? And another category, and this gets really deep, okay? Business networking groups. Okay? Now I can be here all night if I start really going through all of them, but even within business networking groups, there are 7 different types of business networking groups. This would be one of them, by the way. This is a type of business networking group. Okay? A Chamber of Commerce would be a casual contact business networking group. Okay? A professional referral group like B&I, okay, would be a specific type of business networking groups. Okay? So there are all different types. A service club like Kiwanis or Rotary would be a type of business networking club. Okay? A social group. I'm probably throwing way more at you than you want to hear. Okay? One more question in the back, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Raj. Okay, I need you to stand up and say it a little bit louder for me, or if somebody else could.
Sure. My question is, like, how do you make your friends or any of your contacts more likely to use someone to connect you and that person?
Okay, so how do you compel, and I want to say your friends, I want to say how do you compel anybody to want to refer your business, okay? At some point, you need to have a conversation about it, right? I want to go back, Truth of Delusion. People that know, like, and trust you will give you referrals. Delusion. When's the last time you got a referral from mom, dad, your spouse, okay? Know, like, and trust is a prerequisite, okay? But from there, what you need to, once you have the trust, you actually have to have a conversation with them. You actually have to sit down with them saying, you know, hey, listen, I really want to build my business. And this is where I'm going. This is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm so passionate about the things that I do and the people that I serve. Okay? And I can't think of a better place for me to be than doing what I'm doing right now. Okay? And this is how I can use your help. Okay? Entrepreneurs, I know that doesn't roll off your tongue. It comes out like a bag of marbles. Okay? But if you learn how to say those words, I can use your help. Okay? And then give them a specific call to action. Okay? If you can connect me with these type of people, if you can help me get into this company, that would be a great step for me and my company. Does that help? Okay? At some point, you need to sit down and actually have the referral conversation with them. Okay? What a lot of us do is we just assume that people know that we'd like some help. And we assume that they know we would like an introduction. Helpful? All right, well, listen, thank you so much. If you have some individual questions you'd like to come up to me afterwards, I'd be happy to talk with you. Do not forget to take home your 6th grade referral marketing system. Okay? Mike likes you, you like him, and I have a copy for everyone. Thank you very much.